Dr. Ange Mack, and welcome to Operation Freedom 2. It's a fun and friendly program dedicated to our veterans and their overall quality of life. Today I have with us Brenda Joy Lauer. I like to call her Brenda Joy because that's very appropriate for what she conveys and who she is. And she has a wonderful story to tell us about with regards to service dogs, her journey, her personal and her professional journey through the military, and then finding her service dog, Truman. Brenda, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes.
So, Brenda, you were in the military for quite a while, and just to give our viewers a little bit of the background of your time, tell us a little bit about your branch and how long you were in, and what you did when you were in the military.
Actually, I broke my hip early on, so I didn't make it to the year mark. I was a dental assistant in the Army, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So you had that experience. You were in for a little while. Unfortunately, these medical problems do happen, and it takes people out of the military, I'm sure, so much sooner than they would have ever wanted. But your journey with the military, and then after the military, I understand you became a licensed professional counselor, and that helped you, I think, with some things. But also, at some point during this time, you had some issues that you had to overcome, and just tell us a little bit about your story and what you'd like to share. I know sometimes it's difficult to share these kinds of things, but as you know, as a retired licensed professional counselor and being in the military and dealing with PTSD and other issues, that sometimes sharing your journey and how you've overcome so many things can also help others. So you share with us a little bit more about your story and where you got to where you are today.
Okay, thank you. Well, I did endure military sexual trauma while I was in, and I felt like I couldn't report it because other people that did report it were put out dishonorably. So I kept it to myself. And that's also kind of what led to why I didn't stay in as long also. But when I got out, I was a mess, and I had to deal with PTSD and drinking and how would you say, just not understanding I had PTSD until I went to a VA center, and the psychologist started reading to me my symptoms and what was going on. I was like, how does she know I have all this stuff? I didn't realize she was reading from a DSM, and that more than one person can have all these symptoms and have PTSD. And since it was not combat related, I didn't think that it was that I deserved to have any benefits or to get any recognition because I had a short time in, and I was
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's an important point to reiterate, is that many times when you think of post-traumatic stress disorder, you're thinking of something that happened when you were in combat, and it only happens to those that have gone through that. But military sexual trauma is a big issue, and it's being more and more brought to the forefront, and more service members, mainly females, are stepping up and explaining, what happened and why it happened. And what this actually does is it empowers more females to do the same. So I'm glad that you are sharing this story. It is a big issue. It is something we need to pay attention to. So I'm glad that your physician at the time was able to kind of walk you through those symptoms and kind of start explaining to you what is going on with you and why you're feeling this way, and then leading to your road to recovery, no doubt.
well, and PTSD always convinces you you're the only person with that problem, and don't talk about it because people are going to think you're different. And I found out that's not true. Everybody has very similar symptoms. However, they get to the point where they have PTSD, the symptoms are pretty much the same.
Exactly. So you said you were experiencing kind of the depression, the anxiety, the drinking to kind of calm all those things down. And how did you end up going down? What things did you try and do before you got to the point where you met Truman?
Well, I definitely thought that if I drank a lot, it would quiet, and it did. It quieted my brain, but there's so many other things that happen when you drink, and it's not healthy. So, and then back in like 1995 timeframe, I had to drive 120 miles to get therapy. So I would do it, but so luckily I was able to get folk rehab, and I went to school, and I just really got interested in psychology, maybe somewhat for myself, but but I wanted to help others too. So I think that really helped me out, learning about myself by educating myself.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's, yeah, it's a great path. Just going down, learning and doing everything you need to do and to educate yourself in the field of psychology to become your professional licensed counselor. Is that right? Social worker? Is that correct?
Licensed professional counselor in the state of Missouri.
Okay, so you were doing that, helping yourself, and then being able to reach out and help others as well, which is, I think, one of the best circles in life that we can do. You know, after we struggle through things, it's like, okay, now I understand what's going on with me. How can I help? How can I reach out and help other people? And that's exactly what you did. And that's what you did also when you came to Virginia, when you were working with the Northern Virginia Veterans Association and helping others going through many, many difficult situations. So you've always had that giving heart since I've known you, and done so much for, you know, other veterans and people in our community.
Well, we have to take care of each other, that's for sure. And I think we have to realize we're more normal than we realize. It's just the normal is for our circumstance, and
Well,
there's always a better normal.
Well, you know, I always tell people I've had situations where I've counseled and worked with other people too, and I always say there is no normal. You know, don't compare yourself to something that you think is normal, because there's really no normal out there. We all have our own issues, our own challenges, the things that are great with our lives, the things that are not so great, and we shouldn't compare them to what we think is normal, because there is really no normal. You have your own normal, and when you can keep your balance and your health, I mean, that's when you realize, okay, this is my normal, and this is what I want to feel like. And once you be able to maintain that balance, then you know what you're aiming for after that.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely. I think that's the key to PTSD is management of symptoms and trying to anticipate things that will trigger you or give you flashbacks and work on those things as well. I think like equine therapy, we've done that, Truman and I, and that was really beneficial. I think Truman's been the biggest teacher too. He taught me that my feelings go outward and they affect my environment, which I knew, but to have a dog that can tell you when you're anxious and tell you when you're upset and wake you up from nightmares, it's a whole other level of wow, there is more going
you
on, you know?
Absolutely. So yeah, they're so aware, and they're so tuned in to all of that, to the people, to the energies around you. What made you want to get a service dog? I mean, how did you come about that? Because I want other people to know service dogs. I mean, there's so many different. There's service dogs, and then there's, you know, there's emotional support dogs and animals and all kinds of different things. But Truman is an actual service dog. He's trained. He's like, oh, I heard my name. Hey, Truman. Hey, puppy. So when did you decide, okay, maybe a service dog is, you know, what I need? How did you find out about getting a service dog? And, you know, how would you kind of guide others if they wanted to do the same?
In 2013, I had a car accident and it gave me a minor brain injury. And I did not understand that having a car accident can cause your PTSD to relapse or become worse. So I had a lot of difficulty working after that. And I just happened to have a friend come by with a service dog. His name was Sapper, and they came into my office, and the dog like wrapped himself around my legs. And I asked her, I said, "What's wrong with your dog? Why is he doing that?" And she said, "What's wrong with you?" The dog was telling her that I had too much anxiety. So from there, I was just blown away that this dog knew that, and he had just met me. So she helped me with the process and looking for a service dog organization and signing up and learning everything I could because that's kind of what led to my foundation is there is no one route to get a service dog. Every organization has their own parameters, and if you're not combat vet, you don't qualify here. If it just everybody has their own regulations and for their own reasons. And so he came from the Missouri prison system. He was trained there. He was put in a shelter for being wild. You can see how wild he is.
He's out of control.
Yeah, and then Missouri Patriot Paws, her name's Susan Hinkle. She actually, I called and I was going to apply, and then I felt like, no, I don't deserve a service dog. There's other people that need it more than me. And then she called me back and said, you deserve it just as much as anybody else. And she encouraged me, and she changed my life.
Okay, that's a key point. I think a lot of us, especially being in the military, kind of trained into us, let's leave something for the other person. Let's not do this because we want the other person. They probably need it more. They've probably been through more. And I want people to realize that if you feel something would help you and you're not sure, you need to get this for yourself. You don't need to sacrifice any more than you've already have. And if having a service dog or some kind of a therapy animal, or just some kind of therapy maybe you haven't tried in general, because there's multiple types of therapies out there that can help with PTSD. And as we know, everyone's an individual in how they react to certain therapies, how they respond, what helps them and what doesn't help them. And when you first met Truman, I mean, I'm assuming that you met him and then you guys had to kind of agree that you were going to be with one another. How did that whole process go?
Gosh, so I will never forget the day that they sent me the picture of him, and I had to go to the shelter to pick him up, and he drooled all over my car, and I was like, I just don't know if this is gonna work. He's scared, I'm scared, but that night I went to bed and I didn't crate him. He was with me, and I was having a nightmare, and next thing I knew, there was just this gentle brushing on my hand, and he woke me up so gently from my nightmare, and I looked down and there he was licking my hand to wake me up, and I was like, wow, he knows that I'm having a nightmare and he just met me. And I can't explain how beneficial that is, to know that if you can fall asleep and know someone's watching your back like that, you can actually feel better about sleeping.
And you can probably get some sleep too, some solid sleep. I know insomnia is one of the biggest symptoms and conditions of PTSD, and other types of anxiety as well. Just sleeplessness in general, I know, is a huge issue with military service people. One, because many times they're in a situation where they really can't get sound sleep. They always have to be, very vigilant and on the move and ready to respond. And when you go from that kind of environment into just a regular normal day to day, 9 to 5 type environment, that doesn't always shut off. And when you have issues like military sexual trauma and things that kind of put you into a mode where you can't sleep soundly, like it sounds like you've been in, Brenda, then having Truman there around you 24/7 and supporting you like that, I can imagine that was huge. Was that kind of your turning point then? Did you have to like make a decision and, that evening or that next day and say, okay, this is my dog? I mean, there's no doubt this is my dog.
Because the next day, this a lot of people don't talk about this, but especially women that have been dealing with military sexual trauma, they have a lot of problems in the bathroom, in the shower, because it's a confined space and it's sensory deprivation. And I would always shower like with one eye open. I could never really relax, but he came in the shower, plopped himself down, and he was like, I got you. And I was able to take my first shower without stressing about everything else that was going on, and I just knew that it was going to work out just from those two things.
That's amazing. So Truman seems like he's a pretty social guy. I know I've met him multiple times. He's just the sweetest dog, and obviously very devoted to you and committed to his mission with you. How long have you been with Truman? How long have you guys been together now?
2015, so 5 years.
All right. Wow.
And
And
it's really, oh, I'm sorry.
no, go
It's just,
ahead.
oh, it's just amazing because outside the house, but because a service dog is supposed to do activities outside the house. So outside the house, if I have my back to the room because I'm in line, he will situate himself to where he watches my back. And he'll flip backwards and then he'll nudge me or he'll wiggle to let me know that people are coming up behind me. Um, if he thinks I'm having a bad day, he'll sit further away from me so people can't come up too close to me. And there's some days he'll like engage people to come talk to me because he knows I need to be social.
Like he knows you maybe sometimes better than you know yourself, and he kind of guides that and directs the people that may or may not come and contact you. I think I need a service dog. I'm kidding, but I don't need a service dog, but I'm sure there's lots of people out there that could really benefit. what would be some of your guidance you would give to people if they're kind of on edge about, well, should I really pursue one? Because it is a process to get a service dog. Should I pursue one or not? Or what would you tell people if they're just kind of on the fence about wanting to do this or not?
I would say definitely be patient because a lot of organizations have a waiting list, and you want the right dog. Not every dog is going to fit the right person, and it's not easy for a service dog organization to always make a great match. So sometimes you might have to try one or two dogs to make sure, because if the dog's not happy, you're not happy, it's not good for either one of you, and maybe that dog would be better with a different veteran. So I definitely would say patience, and just really understanding the process of getting a dog, and positive pet training, and how to work together as a team.
Those are some great tips. And I know the being patient thing is key, because there are many wonderful service dog organizations, and I know many of them have, like you said, like wait lists, and making sure that dog is the right fit. I mean, you might have been waiting, 6 months or longer for, that perfect dog, and then when you get one, you're like, we need to make this fit. But you're kind of saying, just if it's not a good fit, that's okay. The next one, might be. So just be patient with that process as well.
And definitely don't be so hard on yourself, because I was like, oh man, I got this beautiful gift and now I have to do everything right and I have to do everything perfect and he has to be perfect. Not true. Not true at all. And if you are on a wait list with a service dog organization, I would encourage volunteering with them and get to know them, and maybe attend some of their classes and help them, and learn the process of how they train their dogs, and how you communicate with your dog. So by the time you get your dog, you already know all that stuff.
Now that's a great idea, because I'm sure a lot of these are nonprofits and they have a lot of volunteers that run the programs and kind of sustain the organization. Now, that's a wonderful idea, Brenda. Just getting your name on the list, and then volunteering to really understand what it takes to one, get these service dogs trained, and two, to the different service members and people that need them, and two, also, let them know that you're very interested in this process and you want to be the best person, for your dog. So that's all
Definitely.
a great piece of, making all of that happen, and work until you do get your dog, I guess, aligned with you, assigned with you, matched with you. So, and what is Truman is sitting there? He's wearing a hat, right? So why Truman? Why the name Truman?
His original name was Sonic. And of course, I think of Sonic, the fast food restaurant. And I asked Susan, could I please change his name? Because I didn't know how that worked. I've never been gifted something like this before. So she asked if the Sons of the American Revolution, they are donors, and they had some name suggestions. And she asked if I could choose one of those names. And the first two names were pretty common amongst my service dog friends, but the third name was Truman. And I was like, that's his name, Truman. It just fit him.
He does look like a Truman. He's very distinguished and he's very wise, obviously, and a good leader, and yet, has your back all the time. So I think that works. What's one of the best qualities that Truman has that he kind of shows you day in and day out that you just really love?
The non-judgmental, unconditional love. He will never, he understands my moods, he understands my frustrations, and he's consistently there for me.
That that's just a wonderful quality, in any creature, but to have him there with you all the time, and have that, I'm sure, makes you feel amazing and safe and secure, and just able to go and just do what you would probably say the day-to-day normal things is getting out, going to the grocery store, getting out, going to the bank, or just going to a social function and feeling like, you're going to be okay now in that situation. And if you're not, then Truman will let everybody know not to come around you. So that will work out too.
I don't think people with PTSD realize how much thinking that they're doing in the background, because it's just normal for them. But when I have Truman with me, I'm not looking at the doors. I'm not looking who looks sketchy, or where my position is, because he takes that job and he does all that, and he absorbs all those energies for me, so I can be who I am, and that is just amazing.
That is amazing. And I mean, I've never had a service dog, but I've had a dog, and I know just having, just having a dog by you that, is calm and can, work with you and be with you like that is just, it's an amazing, just an amazing feeling and a place to be. I also understand that you've been through many different types of therapies and you've learned types of therapies, and you've most recently learned hypnosis for other
Yes.
people. So tell me a little bit about that.
I decided to certify in hypnosis in a non-mental health way because I think there's a lot of people that want treatment in a way that isn't mental health because of the stigmatism, or maybe they've had bad experiences. And part of the Truman Foundation is teaching people tools, like reaching out for resources and stuff. But I came along hypnosis, and I've been very interested in it. And I just recently found a great program, Jason Lynette in Virginia Hypnosis. And the thing I like about hypnosis is you have the power to make that change. And I can't do anything to you that you don't want to do. You're in complete control with hypnosis. But hypnosis can help manage some of the symptoms of PTSD.
Yeah, that's a whole interesting, avenue of, therapy and understanding yourself and releasing things. So you've been doing this for how long now, and are you working with other people?
Since October, and I've been working with people, and I'm wanting to add it to our foundation as a service so that I can make it affordable to veterans and first responders. Because
Right.
it's very, I mean, even when I get hypnotized in practice, I feel a better state of calm. I feel more grounded. And I know I'm in control when I'm doing, as a patient, doing the hypnosis. And that's very important for me to know that they're not going to make me bark like a dog or do anything uncomfortable.
Yeah, just Truman. They'll make Truman bark like a dog. So tell us, before we wrap things up here, tell us a little bit about the Truman Foundation and what that is doing for the community, and what's your mission behind the Truman Foundation?
Well, when I first received Truman, I volunteered with Missouri Patriot Paws, and I helped her, with all the years of being a therapist and working with PTSD, I was able to help her with presentations and stuff. And then when I moved to Virginia, Missouri was the same way. A lot of people just don't understand the difference between therapy dog, service dog, emotional support dog, public access, all that stuff. So me and my best friend decided to make a nonprofit so we could educate people to help them understand why service dogs benefit veterans with invisible disabilities, as well as what is a service dog, what is the difference between that and an emotional support dog. And we would love to educate anybody that wants, businesses, schools, whoever. We would love to teach them. So if they can ask the questions to us and learn, then maybe when that veteran goes out, they're going to have a better time, because there's nothing more annoying than going out and being confronted by people that don't know the laws.
Website, right, that people can go to and get this information?
Yes, www.truman-foundation.org.
A Facebook page and an Instagram, is that
Oh,
true too?
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter also. And Truman has his own Instagram.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I think I've seen Truman's Instagram. He's very active, that one, so
That's
that's
all I'll ever
wonderful.
have.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, thank you guys so much for being on Operation Freedom 2. I love the work that you're doing with the Truman Foundation, and I just appreciate and respect the fact that, your journey has led to this point in time where, you've developed the Truman Foundation, you've worked on yourself so you can work on others and support them through their healing journey as well. And I think it's, a lot of this is just kind of a lifetime journey. And once we get to a good place, it's wonderful that we can turn it around and give back like you have, Brenda. So again, thank you so much for being on our show. We look forward to seeing you. I know you're going to be doing a Barks and Brews event at Ono Brewery in Chantilly on the 14th of November. So Truman will be out there, and people can come and they can get a picture with Truman and hang out and enjoy Hawaiian barbecue and a beer if they want. It's called the Barks and Brews, and I know this was like one of the first events Northern Virginia Veterans Association has done in quite a few months now, and we're excited to get out and do this outside thing and have the puppies around. People can bring their own puppy if they want as well, and just enjoy the day with us. So thank you so much for volunteering to do that and all your support in the past. And I just want to let people know that if you have questions about if you should get a service dog or emotional support puppy, just go to the Truman Foundation, website, look and get some information, educate yourself, see what you may need, and then always help yourself first, because if you can't help yourself and get what you need, you're not going to be able to give back to the ones around you and the ones that you love, and be where you want to be in this life. So Brenda, thanks again. I appreciate you being on with us, and I'm sure I will see you here in the very near future.
Yes, and thank you too, Angela. You do a lot for the veteran community, and I'm very thankful for you.
Thank you. And it's my honor and it's my pleasure to always try to give back. And so for the viewers out there, for more information, this will also be on my Dr. Ange Mack blog spot, as well as the YouTube airing and the Comcast channel too. So until next time, enjoy your freedom to puppy love.